Welcome back. You're watching Early Starters on Opportune TV. And like I rightly said during my introduction, that we have a guest, not just, a random guest, but a barrister of the law. And he is a renowned legal practitioner, Barrister Oluwatodimu. I think I'm correct.
Very correct.
Okay. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for coming. And this morning, I remember that I said that we'll be looking at the legal side of Nigeria's opposition realignment ahead of 2027. And Barrister is here to do justice to the topic this morning, which is opposition realignment, legal implications for party structure and strategy. And I quickly want to look at this story. Let's look at it together so that we can know that, okay, we are coming from this particular angle. We're not just saying it as a regular Nigerian, but as regards to what we have been experiencing in the political space. And, it's all making waves on the social media and off the social media. People are talking about it, that is it possible for this particular coalition to unseat, our president? And a lot of questions. Abubakar said in 2015, this kind of coalition was, put in place to ensure that PDP, the then ruling party, was unseated, and they had to, bring up what they call the APC, and the ADC then maybe went down the drain. We didn't hear about it until July 2nd, which is Wednesday, July 2nd, that we heard of, people coming together to, resuscitate this particular party just for a singular cause of unseating the president, as said by some analysts. So, in a major political development, key opposition figures Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, Nasir El-Rufai, Rotimi Amechi, and others have officially adopted the African Democratic Congress, known as ADC, as their collective platform to unseat President Bola Tinubu in the 2027 elections. The announcement was made on July 2nd, 2025, during a high-profile meeting at the Shehu Musa Yaradua Center in Abuja. Former Senate President David Mark was named interim chairman of the coalition, with Rauf Aregbesola as interim secretary. The group described the ADC as a neutral political vehicle to champion reform, national unity, and credible leadership. However, the adoption of ADC has raised constitutional and legal questions. Analysts have expressed skepticism about the party's capacity to serve as a credible alternative. Many of the coalition leaders still belong to their former parties, and no formal merger has been registered with the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. That opens the door to potential legal battles over party loyalty and candidates' eligibility and compliance with the Electoral Act. Meanwhile, critiques also point to a lack of clear ideological alignment or strategic cohesion among the coalition members, adding to the complications a faction within ADC led by former presidential candidate Dumebi Kachuku, as he rejected the coalition's adoption of the party. All of the story now. Let's take it to Minister Nyesom Wike, who publicly dismissed the coalition's credibility, arguing that only the PDP has the structure to compete with APC. He referred to the ADC alliance as a desperate and uncoordinated attempt to grab power without vision. He now said political observers, now let's move to them, says the internal tensions, legal uncertainties, and zoning disputes could unravel the coalition before the 2026 pre-election season. And some editorial says this ADC coalition is too fragile to carry the weight of such a diverse and ambition-driven alliance. So we have our legal practitioner in the studio this morning, and we want to start by asking him that what does the law says, about political coalition and realignment in Nigeria?
Okay, the law is very clear that Section 40 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, gives Nigerians the freedom of association, freedom of expression. So, on that premise, anybody can move to any other party. Anybody can choose to offer themselves up for election. It is your right to be voted for. It is your right to vote. So on that premise, we can say that coalitions, mergers are in order when it comes to political parties.
So, sir, can INEC do anything as such to stop this, political opposition leaders, because they are opposition leaders coming together to, for a particular cause, which is sitting the president in 2027?
Well, simply put, INEC cannot, on its own, suo motu, that's without any prompting.
Moto.
Yes,
I need to learn suo motu.
cannot just say, oh, we are going to put an end to this coalition. Why do I say that? Even if there is an infringement of the Constitution or the Electoral Act of 2022, what INEC should do is to go to court. And INEC cannot even act on its own except there is a complaint or a petition to it from members of the parties or people who feel aggrieved. And INEC cannot just say, oh no, we are putting a stop to this. INEC needs to go to court to ensure that, to get an order to put in place if there's any breach or an infraction.
Any breach?
Yes, so it's not like INEC can just say, oh, you guys stop. No.
And they cannot do anything as such to, or they cannot state it as an electoral manipulation.
No, not when it comes to coalition. There is the Electoral Act of 2022 and the guidelines for coalition.
Sir, before you answer that question, I want us to, focus on the leaders of this coalition. They are from different opposition parties, and there are a lot, of controversies surrounding them, and people want to know. Can't there be anything that we can, use against them just to ensure that we do not have the further existence of ADC, or maybe in the nearest future, in 2-3 months, this could, actually bring up a kind of crisis in our political space and also governance?
Now, yes, the fear of the people and the fear, the comments that have been coming up are quite in order, because considering that the principal agents or the principal actors in these matters belong to political parties that people know them to be members. We have not heard that they have resigned their positions at those parties.
Course, yes,
now, that brings us to Section 84 of the Electoral Act of 2022. We provide guidelines for nominations of candidates, how their primaries should be conducted. Having said that, you will see that most of them, I remember I read the spokesperson for Peter Obi saying that, I read a comment, I'm not sure if it was his spokesperson, that stated that he's still a member of the Labour Party, but is a part of the coalition. Now, there is a provision in the law that states that before you can be up for the primaries at another party, you must first have resigned from your present party. You can't belong to two political parties. Having said that, it's still I think the coalition is still in the pipeline. Most likely, before there's a timeline, you can actually submit your resignation from the other party and become a member of another party. So that can still be in play. These principal actors from other parties would most likely put up their resignation letter before joining the new political party officially. That's one. Number two, if there are going to be primary elections, INEC's duty is to ensure that, or the parties must ensure that they follow the provisions of Section 84 of the Electoral Act, which is that you cannot impose candidates. There has to be a primary, and the primary election must be free and fair. So I think that that should be in place.
Sir, this that you just explained, that is still, in line with what the law says. But I need to know, because on social media, on X, particularly yesterday, some people said, is it really right for these people to, mention or theme it like they did, that they want to, unseat the sitting president? Is it not treasonable? Is it not? Can the law say something about it or hold them down? Can we have a clampdown of this coalition?
No,
Because if an ordinary person should come out and say, by force, by fire, Tinubu must leave the seat, then we'll hear what the law says. The law says this, the law says that. So the Gen Zs now, let me put it that way, wants to know that, is this not treasonable? Because we need to know, we want to learn.
Well, on the face of it, it's not treason. Because what is treason? Treason is to say that you want to start up an alternate government. You want to unseat the government illegally. Now, the political parties have a legal right to participate in elections, so their statement to say that we're going to unseat the president, they are not saying now, they are saying after the election in 2027, which is proper. To let the constitution allows for competition, allows for election. That's why it's called democracy. It's government of the people, for the people, by the people. So if the government is saying that nobody can unseat them, then it's illegal. But this is a political, the Section 84, or even the Electoral Act of 2022, holistically allows for opposition, allows for election. That means that a sitting governor, a sitting senator, a sitting chairman of any local government can be unseated by another political party, subject to the provisions of the law and an election, consequent upon an election. So yeah, I think their statement is right. They are not saying that they are forming a parallel government. They are only saying that we are coming to change the narrative. We are coming to unseat the incumbents, which the Constitution allows for.
Okay, a little bit, let's move a little bit from the topic for today, which is what the law says about the opposition realignment. Sir, let's look at what we are experiencing in Nigeria at the moment, and a lot of challenges, a lot of insecurity, banditry attack, and all of those things. Now, put together, should we be talking about 2027 now?
Well, as it stands, people who are in the opposition should, over time, stand as a check and balance to the sitting government.
So let's move away from the opposition.
Yes,
let's hear it from your own standpoint as a regular Nigerian. Do you think they are doing the right thing by talking about 2027 election now in 2025, that we are faced with more than enough challenges?
Well, as it stands, left to me, I believe that the government of the day should face what it has been elected to do. As a matter of fact, look at the issues, deal with them. Many of them are now distracted by 2027, which is 2 years away. And it is imperative that they handle issues. As a matter of fact, if you do well, your work will speak well for you, and people, you would have no reason to be afraid of losing the election, because the works of your hand, what you have been able to achieve, and what you have been able to do to change the plight of Nigerians would actually speak for you, and what you would do on the election day might be little, because you have been able to transform lives, you have been able to renew the hope of Nigerians. Has that been done? I don't think that many Nigerians would answer that question in the affirmative.
So if you are the regular Nigerian that wants to answer the question in that affirmative, what would you say?
Well, as far as I'm concerned,
has it been done? Do we have a renewed hope in our, in our country? Has our hope been renewed? Do we have the Nigeria that we were, chalked into, in 2023 that we will be getting? Do we have the reforms that are, or the policies that they are creating and pushing towards? Do we have its people oriented? Does it really align with our basic rights as Nigerians? Are we really enjoying from this government?
Well,
you see, I put all the questions together.
well, in my view, to answer as a Nigerian on the street, are these reforms people oriented? I would say no, because we put it in perspective. Nigerians, the cost of buying a vehicle today is what we use to buy gadgets like laptops and phones. The cost of buying vehicles as of today is what we used to buy houses a few years ago. Now, that means that to the common Nigerian, to the average Nigerian, cost of living has shot up beyond our expectation. Wages are not increasing. People are lamenting the cost of petrol, the cost of electricity, all going up. And now that means that the average Nigerian is not feeling this renewed hope. But what is the government saying? The government is saying that there cannot be pain without smile. That means that they are taking us somewhere. These reforms.
We'll get to know where they are taking us. Sorry, sir. You'll continue very shortly. To join the conversation in the studio this morning, please call 0903 539 8622. I can see some pum pum. 0903 539 8622 to join the conversation this morning. Do you feel that ADC will unseat APC come 2027? Or better still, you send us messages via the same line 0903 539 8622. Please, we are waiting for you to join the conversation or join the conversation via our social media handles on Facebook, Opportunity TV, on Instagram, Opportunity TV, and please watch us live on Niger TV app as we are talking about maybe the aim to unseat the government, the present administration. So you can continue.
Yes, so
because I really want you to take us into it extensively.
So I feel that Nigerians are not getting what they hoped for, renewed hope. You know, we were thinking that the prices of the price of petrol will drop, price of electricity will drop, the cost of living will be more manageable, and would be in paradise. But I doubt that any Nigerian on the streets will say that, yes, I'm in paradise. Is people lamenting the cost of living has gone astronomically high. And you often wonder, how are people able to survive on the salary and the wages that they are getting as compared to what the cost of getting these things are. You know, an average, over the weekend I saw a chat I had with a friend about, I think it was 2022 or 2023. And, then it was a chat about a vehicle that he wanted to sell. And I saw the price. I screenshot the message and I sent him that, is this car still available? And he laughed because the car that he put up for sale at that time is about 5 times the current value. And this is a 2008 vehicle. So you can imagine the cost of, anything you can think of has gone really high. So you now wonder, how is the common man on the street able to survive, able to cope? And, so if you look at it from that perspective, Nigerians will say, no, the government is not leading us to the renewed hope. On the other hand, if you were, political jobbers, sycophants, and people who are in power, they might be having it good because of their access to the access to power, access to government funds and all that. So basically, if you are going to raid the government, because we as the electorate, it is believed that we put the government in power. We put the government in power because it's a democracy. It is our votes that put them in power. If you say that I feel comfortable, happy about what my vote is getting me, I will say no.
I will say no, because Barrister Ufeli said something on the program last week, and he said this sitting president is actually running Nigeria, which I said he shouldn't say, but when he gave his reasons, he said he's running Nigeria like he did in Lagos State when he was the governor, not knowing that Nigeria is so big or too big for it to be, run like what he did in Lagos State. And bringing it to the conversation we had last week Monday on the tax reforms, because these coalitions are also saying that they are bringing up all of these issues basically because Nigeria is no longer affordable for a regular citizen. And the man said, Dr. Kolawole now said that the tax will be doubled come 2030. That's the percentage. That it won't even stand as 15%. Let me say now it's still paying the 7.5, but later in January 2026 we'll be paying 15%. And he said all of these reforms that has been talked about, the tax reforms that we are applauding, well, that it's not really going to favor us as a regular citizen, because we will be having 30% ahead of us. Now, Do you think the reform, the tax reform, this reform, and all of the reforms are in alignment with what was proposed in 2023? And do you think that we can carry on as a country like this, looking at the situation on ground?
Well, as it stands, the tax reforms, is not just a decree or a reform that was made like a presidential executive order and all that. Is a statute. And before any statute will change, it has to pass through the National Assembly for variation. So it means that if anything is going to change, our hope, or we would expect that the National Assembly will protect the average Nigerian, will protect and do what they were elected to do, to ensure that any act, any statute, any law that is passed is protective of the people. Now, having said that, we would expect that there will be no policy somersault, because most times in Nigeria there's a policy today and another government comes in and overrides a decision that was made earlier. If there is continuity, we are in good hands. But of course, it's always a hope that we would have that things will go on as planned.
All right, let's go on a short break. When we return, we'll continue with this insightful conversation on opposition realignments. Early starters, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. The kidneys are two bean-shaped organs located on either side of the spine, just below the rib cage. Though small, they play an essential role in maintaining the body's balance and overall health. Every day, the kidneys filter about 50 gallons of blood, removing waste products, toxins, and excess fluids, which are then excreted as urine. Beyond filtration, the kidneys regulate blood pressure, maintain electrolyte balance. Despite their importance, kidneys are often taken for granted until problems arise. Many misconceptions surround kidney health. For instance, while it is true that foods high in potassium should be limited for people with kidney disease, they are not harmful to those with healthy kidneys. Bananas, avocados, and sweet potatoes, which are rich in potassium, actually support kidney health for the average person. Another myth is that frequent urination is always a sign of kidney failure, whereas it could be related to diabetes, urinary infections, or other conditions. Caring for the kidneys begin with staying hydrated. Drinking adequate water daily helps flush toxins and reduces the risk of kidney stones. A balanced diet is equally important, low in salt and processed foods, but rich in fresh produce, lean proteins, and whole grains. Foods such as apples, garlic, cucumbers are particularly beneficial for kidney health. For those interested in natural cleansing, parsley and dandelion teas or lemon water can support kidney detoxification. But it is important to remember that the kidneys are naturally self-cleaning organs when properly hydrated. Welcome back. You're watching Early Starters, and we've been having an insightful conversation with a renowned legal practitioner, Barrister Oluwatodimu Ige. First time I heard his name, I said, "Is he from the clan of Bola Ige?" All right. So because when you see or hear a name, and you begin to ask, I mean, there is a particular connection with the name. You know, Nigeria has to do with connection.
Very well.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So we want to know now if there is any legal safeguard to ensure that we do not have anything as such as maybe hanky-panky come 2027 election.
All right. You know, the position of the law is very clear. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Electoral Act of 2022. Parties ought to have their constitution. These three ordinarily should stand as a safeguard. Why do I say that? We're expected to believe that Nigeria is a country that operates on the rule of law. Having said that, there are guidelines on who can be nominated as a candidate of the party, how those candidates can emerge. If a party is aggrieved as to the nomination or election of any persons from their party, the provisions available to them, they can write to INEC, they can go to court. And the courts can actually redirect and say, oh, this selection or election process is faulty, go back to the drawing board. We are not accepting this party. If a party wants to register, the Electoral Act makes provisions on the number of months they ought to have submitted or notified INEC of coming on board to register. The requirements for such parties to be recognized.
Okay.
Even if INEC says that, oh, we don't like your face, we don't want you to be registered as a political party, that party has a right under the law to approach the courts for an interpretation or an order to be registered. So ordinarily, this should be the legal safeguards. And it is also provided so upon somebody bringing this to the notice of INEC and to the court. Because the court cannot on its own decide to say, oh, yeah, you people come. Somebody must have approached the court for an interpretation. Somebody must have approached the court for an order. You know. So having said that, the provisions of the law is very clear. It is now up to the electorates, party persons, to ensure that this is activated.
So the electorates that you just mentioned, as a regular Nigerian, can I walk up to INEC or a group of Nigerians saying that we do not want a party like ADC? If we should have a fresh party, let it be something that is off the radar of long-reigned opposition leaders. Can we have such thing in place? Can we nullify something of such, the ADC and any such that wants to come up?
Well, unfortunately, I wouldn't say unfortunately, the section 40 of the Constitution gives every Nigerian, common, average, rich, powerful, non-powerful, the right and privilege to freedom of association. That means that an ordinary Nigerian cannot say that, oh, because this person has been in an elective position for donkey years, he doesn't have a right to contest an election. The law is clear that if he qualifies, let him go for it. However, the power lies in the electorate. It's a democracy. The power to elect our leaders lies in the people. If you are not happy about certain politicians, there are a lot of them. We have over 27 registered political parties. So regardless of whether it's a coalition or not, some people have refused to join the coalition. If you feel that you have a better position, you have a better option for Nigerians. I am sure that whatever you sell to the people and they feel comfortable with you, they will go with your tide. So the best option and the best foot forward for anyone opposing any coalition is to form their own political association or align with a political association that they feel will upturn what we have currently and they sell a better mandate to us.
Then we can have something of such in place. All right, let's look at it finally now, because I think I've said finally for more than two times or three times. But the key question keeps coming. As a regular Nigerian, outside of the law now, or looking at it from the angle of being an analyst, what do you think is the fate of APC in 2027? Looking at the coalition here, the coalition there, and people frowning at some of the policies and reforms of this present administration.
Well, if you feel the pulse of the populace, ordinarily without any form of spiritual powers, you would say that.
I love that.
you would say that the APC would not come back. But, that has not always been the case in Nigeria. Of course, we say most times on the election day, voters refuse to come out. Whereas the party in power or these actors engage people, pay them X amount of money to go out and vote. That means that if you don't go out to participate in the elections, you cannot have your wish. Staying away from politics, staying away from voting, staying away from making a decision in who emerges as primary candidates. Election is not 2027. These people have started pushing now. That means that the ordinary Nigerians should ensure that they get their voters card, they be involved in their local government, in their areas, to ensure that the proper thing is done. Not until the day of election and you start dancing and protesting. No, we should start the process. People have been realigning to ensure that they come out tops in 2027. What are we as the populace doing as well to ensure that our leaders are accountable, to ensure that the status quo doesn't continue? We must walk the talk. It is not about sitting on X or on social media complaining. Now is the time that we must
even start with the upcoming local government
election. Very well, yes.
July, this month.
Just a few days away. What are our people doing? What steps are you taking? Sitting out in your home, watching the TV, typing on your social media.
Some people don't even know the name of their ward councillors.
Yes.
Talk more of the chairman.
And this is critical because most politicians will tell you that the grassroots movement, the local government elections are the grassroots movement. If you allow the opposition to carry the day or the current party to carry the day, the ball is in our courts and is how we play it. How do we play it? By participating actively in elections.
So you're leaving us with the word participation in elections is very okay. All right, please turn down the volume of your TV set. Oh my God. So sorry, I can't really tell what is happening with our network at the studios this morning, but you can do well to, call us back via this number, 0903 539 8622. I take it again, 0903 539 8622. too. And we've been talking about opposition realignment and the legal implications for party structure and strategy. If you are unable, to reach us this morning, you can do well to send us text messages. We'll read it tomorrow and probably call Barrister Oluwatodimu on phone, to finish up what he has started today, so that he can help us with what the law says on the program early starters. So join the conversation on Facebook. Let's see what the law says. Let's learn from the angle of, the law, not just the practical thought of every Nigerian. They're not doing well, governance is bad, is this, is that. So we all want it to soil, and at the end of the day we will be affected. So you were saying something to wrap up, Sash?
Now, so I appeal to every Nigerian.
All right, sir.
That the ball is in our court. Don't sell your votes. 5,000, 10,000. We will be the one to bear the pain, the brunt. Because the money they are giving to you to sabotage the future of your children, to sabotage your own future, is minimal compared to if we do the right thing. To every politician out there, you come and promise us so many things, when you get there and you change. This is unfair, because Nigeria should not be where it is now. We boast to be an oil-rich nation. That means that we have a lot to benefit from, but we need to ensure that the people who have voted you into power, they get, they are happy, because Nigerians are not even asking for too much at this point. We want to be able to make a living, we want shelter, we want food, and I don't think that is out of place. There is funding for that. Let us all play our part and ensure that Nigeria is great again.
So do play your part, let me play my part. I said something as regards security the other time, that people will watch things happen, and when it goes sour, then we'll call on the security operatives or talk about it. And we saw them, that was what happened in Benue, because there were stories of, intels and, before the whole attack and all. And yet, people were looking at them walking en masse on their streets without notifying the right authority. Please, let it start or begin with you, because security governance is a thing I should do, you should do. And we are talking about youth inclusion in governance. Well, are you really, really ready to be aware of what goes on in government? Talk more of, your local government, movement, grassroots movement that you just, talked about. So we'll leave Barrister Oluwatodimu until next time we have him on the program. I know people will start sending their messages. We are ready to receive it, and we'll forward it to Barrister Oluwatodimu, because this morning I don't know why our network is failing us, and that is what we need to work on as a country. The telcos is collecting so much but giving us less. They are giving us less. So we'll go on a short break, and when we return we'll wrap up the program early start to see you tomorrow. Let's go on the short break. When we return, Mary Agyobo and I continues the program. Stay tuned.
KG5F Security Services. We are dependable, reliable, proficient, and gallant always. KG5F Security Services, officially licensed by the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Our services include general office security, personal security, asset protection, protocol services, physical security, aviation security, loss prevention, escort protection, security patrols, and access control. We are available 24/7. KG5F Security Services also provide installation of security gadgets such as CCTV camera, alarms, special communication equipment, and so on. Gallant security personnel are needed nationwide with attractive working benefits. Contact KG5F Head Office at 45 Prince Adeyemi Street off Governors Road, Ikotu, Lagos, or our branch office 25 Yaya Baton Road, adjacent Nationwide Petrol Station, Ogba, Lagos. Call 09161514318 for inquiries. KG5F Security Services, to serve and protect.